Hi, my name is Katie Burke, and my presentation will focus on differences in men and women's brains regarding language. So this Cosmopolitan article, which is titled Why Women Use 13,000 More Words a Day Than Men, contains erroneous and misleading information. It claims that women are more inclined to talk than men are. So why is this article so misleading? Well, first, language and gender are two very complex ideas. Wallington explains in his article that language involves many different cognitive processes, and in addition, gender has social implications that can affect how an individual may act. The complexity of these two topics illustrates how difficult it can be to determine sex differences, especially regarding language ability. This idea is further illustrated through a study conducted by Kaiser, Haller, Schmitz, and Nietzsche in 2009. These researchers examined previous fMRI studies and publication bias regarding sex and gender differences. The researchers concluded that neuronal plasticity, which is the idea that experience helps develop the brain, should be taken into account when determining sex differences in language development. The researchers noted that publication bias often worked in favor of sex differences, which may have resulted in people disregarding the importance of neuronal plasticity, especially in language development. So another important thing to note when examining the accuracy of this article is that differences in language abilities among sexes is supported by research and does have evidence to back it. For example, research supports that there are structural brain differences between men and women. Brunn and others utilized MRI scans and found that women had larger temporal, parietal, and occipital lobe regions in the left hemisphere of their brains. So this information lines up with the location of Wernicke's area, which is involved in language development. These structural differences support the idea that females may have an advantage regarding language. In addition, developmental differences have been found through research. Lang, Euler, and Zaretsky examined the language abilities of over 10,000 children ages 3 to 6. The results showed that female 3 and 4-year-olds outperformed male children of the same age. This again suggests that there are gender differences in language ability. However, this evidence does not indicate that women use more words per day than men. So, for example, although Lang, Euler, and Zaretsky found that 3 and 4-year-old females outperformed males, there were no significant differences found among the older children. And Wallington's research also supports this distinction. This indicates that developmental differences, although they may be significant, may not carry into adulthood language usage or ability. In addition, language abilities may vary depending on the situation. Schuringer, Wittig, and Pleitzer conducted a study in 2017 that involved adult men and women, and it looked at their verbal fluency. So this study utilized many strategies, but the researchers only found differences when a switching strategy was used, and all other strategies produced similar results in the men and women. So this suggests that differences in language ability may be dependent on the situation. And overall, the research supporting any differences between men and women's language abilities does not indicate that women talk more than men or use more words per day than men. So finally, this Cosmopolitan article is misleading due to the inaccurate explanations of the study that it references. Researchers Bauer, Perez, Pucholin, Edwards, and McCarthy studied 3 to 5-year-old boys and girls. Meanwhile, the Cosmo article states that 10-year-old boys and girls were studied, and this is simply not true. So this error implies that this source is unreliable. In addition, the headline claim that women use 13,000 more words per day is not mentioned nor alluded to in the article at all, which again suggests that the article is inaccurate and unreliable. So in conclusion, although based on an idea that has scientific support, the claims made in this article are erroneous and misleading.